Welcome to the Dawn Osborne Show, Limitless Life. The big question women like you and I ask is, how do we do that? How do we have a growth mindset? How do we increase our emotional intelligence? How do we do life, business and marketing, and yet still remain balanced in the rhythm of our life and our family? Those are the questions that this podcast will answer. My name is Dawn Osborne, and welcome to my Limitless Life podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wow Women. We've got another show for you. If you're just joining us, thank you very much. And we have got the very awesome Simone Leslie with us today. She is a wow woman. She has wowed me quite a few times. I've done some of her courses. She's incredibly insightful, and I'm super excited to have her today. So, hey, Simone, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks, Dawn. How are you?
Yeah, good. That background looks beautiful. You look like you're in serenity.
Yeah, we're pretty blessed here.
Yeah, you are. Hey, my throat is super. I've been in a conference for 4 days, so I'm a little bit hoarse. So please forgive me for my hoarseness. But Simone, I'm super excited about the wisdom that you're going to bring. I do see you as a woman of wisdom, and I would love if you could just, like, some people will know you, and I know that they're jumping on right now, but some people don't know your background. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about who you are, what you've come through, and before we get into the wisdom. Now, guys, if you've just joined us, what we'll do here, Simone is going to give you some amazing insights, and she's going to share three pieces of wisdom. So I want you to stay tuned and until the end, because she's going to give you some powerful insights for your own life. So Simone, just tell us a little bit about your background and who you are.
Great. So I'm a master Neuro Strategist, and I'm blessed to travel around the world speaking to groups and conferences, businesses and individuals about how to get breakthrough in their life, basically on all different levels, whether it be success or with your business, or just I've worked with elite athletes to just break through to that next level. Everyday individuals, companies, as well as those who suffer with stuff from their past, whether it be anxiety, depression, all that sort of stuff. And the reason why I do what I do was because I was actually a real nutcase. So
you and me both. I'm still working on it.
Yeah, we're all a work in progress. But many years ago, I started my career presenting on television on Good Morning Australia. And most people thought she's got the world at her feet. You know, I was pretty young. I think I was 20 or something. And, wow, she's just so lucky. The world's her oyster. Yeah. But what they didn't realise was that it was just a big mask on the outside. And on the inside, I was a shattered, depressed and suicidal little girl who had no self-esteem, no self-worth, and was just so incredibly broken. To the point of being suicidal. I was depressed, riddled with anxiety, and struggled with suicidal thoughts. And one night I actually did attempt it and completely failed. And then I just thought, you know what, you're such a loser and you're such a failure. You can't even do that right. So it was all the whole self-berating comments and whatever in my mind. But the next day I had to go to work and I had to go to the studios. So again, you just suck it all up and tuck it all back in. But this particular time, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. And I literally, in my suit, I literally collapsed on the ground in front of the elevators and just was like a puddle of tears and just a mess. And I just couldn't go on like that anymore. And I literally cried out and I said, you know what, God, if you're real, you have to help me. I can't do this on my own. Yeah. So I did two things. And the first one was to listen, to see if God would actually talk to me and answer me. So I would take myself off to nature somewhere a couple of times a week with just a pen and paper. And I would say, God, tell me something that I understand, because I just don't get it. Yeah. And things would unfold, like stories would unfold before my eyes. A bird would land on a branch and I'd go, okay, great. Well, what does that mean? And so he would unfold these metaphors, and what he was doing was teaching me to see myself through his eyes, through the eyes of love and through the eyes of truth, and putting me back together piece by piece, showing me how to accept and love myself, warts and all, perfectly imperfect. So that was a real amazing start of my journey that started to put me back together. And the other thing that I did was I did want to actually find out why I was such a nutcase. So I started to study the brain. And what I found out was I was looking for what was wrong with me, but what I actually found was what was right with me and what made me unique. So the combination of spirit and science really put my world back together. And I thought, you know what, if that can do it for me, then, you know, other people need this. And so that started my journey. And as I said, now I teach around the world to thousands of people. So it's a real blessing.
That's amazing. And you know, if anybody's listening to this right now, and you know you've connected with Simone's story, what's one piece of advice you would have for someone? Because what I really captured was the visualization of you getting towards that elevator and just collapsing. That moment where you go, do you know what? I'm at the end of myself. And I completely can relate to that. I've had a couple of those moments to myself where I've just gone, oh my gosh, I think I'm done. Like this is it. I don't know how I can go on. So do you have, you know, knowing what you know now, because, you know, there was something that must have risen up on the inside of you at that moment, Simone. Do you have it? You know, if someone's going through that right now, and, you know, like if you are, we just hope you're listening to this and you'll take some of this wisdom and realize that there is more. If you look at Simone's life or my life, you know, you really do discover yourself in the darkest moments. But what would you say to that person, Simone, right now, if they're listening or watching?
Yeah, look, it's definitely the classic battle of good and evil. And whatever you call it, whether it's God and the enemy or, you know, light and dark, yin and yang, whatever it is for you, the universe and, you know, whatever, there is definitely that battle. And for me, I put it quite simply, it's the lies and the truth. Yeah. And in our neural programming, which are the very programs we run off, it's like the train tracks, you know, they're laid and we are the train going on those tracks. If you have lies built into those neural programs around your identity, your worth and who you are, it's going to take you to destinations that are really not where you want to be. They're not a happy place. It's hard. And it is that, you know, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, which leads to anxiety and depression and you know, even being suicidal. So I guess the good news is that if you are feeling that way, you know, from personal experience, you can get out of it. You just need to find the truth. There is hope. And if you start with that hope, I guess, of seeking, okay, well, if this is the darkness, then what is the light? And I guess the trap of those lies is telling, you know, whether we think it's our own thoughts or whatever, but it's really that darkness or the lies that tell us you're actually not worthy of anything more than this. You're not worthy of truth. You're not worthy of the light. You're not worthy of love. They're all lies. So if there's anyone hearing that in their head, you're not good enough, you're not worthy of anything better than this, I want to tell you right now, it is an absolute flat out ridiculous lie, because you are worthy of more. And there is some small part of you, I know, that still holds on to that hope. And that's, I think, what it was for me. You know, I was really literally at the end of my rope and at the end of my tether, but there was some tiny part that was suggesting, you know, you could have something better than this. And it's almost like this justice thing that rises up like that. You know, that song, what about me? What about me? And it's that justice that's rising up that says, I don't want to take this anymore. I don't want to have to live like this anymore. And so use that to really start searching for the truth.
I completely, I can feel it. It's like a power that you didn't realize was there rises up and says, no, this is not the way life is supposed to be or going to be anymore. It's a real certainty that rises up. I think, you know, I can completely identify it. There was something that was birthed out of that painful moment. Something about me that was birthed that made me refuse to settle for this and want more for my life. And so, I think just hearing your story, I'm thinking we've both, you know, we've both been at that moment. So what happened then? So you went and became a neuroscientist, and you travel around the world now. So what do you think is your key message right now, Simone, for everyday women? And, you know, I have a lot of entrepreneurial women. You're an entrepreneurial woman. So what's your key message right now? What's on your heart?
I think it's really a new day, and it's time to rise up. You know, we need to find our own strength and stand in our uniqueness and in unity in that, you know, to value one another. And I think there has been a shift over the last few years to really start valuing each other. But I think we've got more work to do on valuing and loving ourselves and appreciating ourselves, to be our own cheerleader. And one of the things I teach to many women is giving ourselves permission to receive. You know, without feeling guilty, the mum guilt, the work guilt, you know, taking time off work to do other stuff, you know, whatever it is, giving yourself permission to receive and really owning that and valuing ourselves to that point of, no, actually, I'm really worthy of this and I love who I am, warts and all, and I celebrate me. And if you don't, then I'm sorry, but you obviously can't see how amazing I am. You know, maybe one day you will, but it's really owning ourselves, and not that we have to be perfect. You know, I teach as well around the if-then statements, around if I'm perfect, then I'm worthy of love. And these are, again, lies in our neural program, because I'm, you know, quite happy to say I'm far from perfect, but I love me and I really celebrate my life. And, you know, I make mistakes, but I have grace for myself as well to go, okay, well, we made a mistake. What can we do to fix it? How can we move on from this? Rather than berate myself, you know, where I used to, you know, you're such an idiot. You're so hopeless. You're a failure. How could you do that? You know, I think as soon as we learn, okay, we're perfectly imperfect. That's what I like to say. We're perfectly imperfect, and just love ourselves through that. So not only do we celebrate other women, but we celebrate ourselves, give ourselves permission to receive and grace for the race.
I think one of the things that I find with women, especially strong women and pioneering women, we can often find jealousy when we're looking at another woman who seems like she's got it all together. We kind of look over and go, okay, I'm feeling a little bit jealous about what she's got or what she's doing. But actually, it's not about becoming jealous of one another. It's actually about celebrating, wow, you know, look what's going on in her life. How is she doing it? You know, let me have a look at her. You know, if she's modeling something that I want for my own life, well, guess what? You can have it too. It's not like you're super special and you know, got some special spiritual stuff going on. It's like, no, you made that conscious decision that you wanted more in your life, that you were going to, you know, value your worth, and you know, your life is a picture of that, right? But it was a decision that you made. So you know, I love what you do. I'm, you know, we're in a similar field, but I love what you do, Simone. I love the message that you carry, and so I'm here to celebrate you, and I want to know how you're doing it. So that's why you're on the Wow Women show. You know what I mean? It's about us collaborating. And I don't know if there's anybody out there who is not collaborating because they might be feeling jealous. You know what? There's power in unity. There is power when we get together as women and celebrate one another. Move towards someone that you admire and appreciate. Don't you know, be intimidated. Don't let the, you know, the spirit of intimidation hold you back when you're meant to propel forward. So
absolutely. One of the stories in my book actually talks about that. That I was driving home late one night and I was listening to some classical music actually, and the piece had a lot of different flutes in it. There was like a whole section of flutes, and it was really absolutely stunning, and the harmonies, and some were playing the same piece, others were playing similar with, you know, tiny bit of difference, and then there was harmonies, but it just, as you say, there was power in the unity of it. And you know, that little question came to mind: would it be as beautiful if there was just one flute? And I thought, you know what, no way. It just, how could it? And that's when, you know, my eyes and my heart was open to, this is us as women. You know, we might be a whole bunch of women. We might be a whole bunch of flutes. And even if we're playing the very same thing, you know, that it builds it, and it builds the volume and the strength of that. And then you've got other women that, you know, they might be doing something similar, slightly different, but again, it adds to it. And then you've got the harmonious, and then, you know, the rest of the orchestra or whatever. But it's when we work in that unity and when we come together and we celebrate each other and we work as a team, that we produce some of the most amazing, beautiful pieces, you know, in the world.
Absolutely, and that's a great visual, because I'm a visual person, so I really capture that visually. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that needs other women who have risen up and say, look, let me help you. You know, I'm here to help you. I'm here to serve you. What can we do to make your life better and get you what you really want in life? Don't, you know, not settle. Don't settle for what you truly, you know, deserve. So I'm all for us rising up and encouraging and championing on other women. So I really want to get into your wisdom. So,
yeah.
And I'm sure some of our listeners would be like, oh, okay, what is she going to bring us? What is she going to bring us? So what is your number one wisdom tip for us today, Simone?
Okay, it's been challenging to make these compact, because I could probably do a whole day's teaching on just one of these. I know, but the number one thing is, you know, I teach in my online program about when we address the root cause of anxiety and depression, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people may have tried that without the spiritual element and it hasn't worked. And so I often say, so what's it going to cost you just popping that element in? And so what I've experienced in over 20 years of working in this industry is that, you know, we all know we're mind, body, and spirit. And we need to have that spiritual element in there really for growth and success. And when we truly understand our spiritual identity, when we understand who we are in God, first of all, who is God? Who is God to us? And then secondly, who are we in God? This is such an understated, powerful thing to wrap our heads around. This is just life-changing. So that's the number one thing I would say, without now going into a one-day seminar on that, is really understand your spiritual identity, like get a really good grasp on who you are.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, that's good. And I completely agree with you. You've got to have we are more than just this body. You know, there is a spiritual element into our life, and we need to go and we need to, you know, get a greater awareness. I call it spiritual awareness. We need to go and we need to get a spiritual awareness of that, you know, and go on a journey. It's really good. Isn't it, Simone?
It's life-changing.
Life-changing. Okay, let's go. What's number two?
Number two is really accepting who you are, learning to truly accept and love yourself, warts and all. And I touched on this a little bit before, but, you know, whether I teach individuals or whether I'm teaching elite athletes or corporate empires, the foundation of success is the relationship you have with yourself. So, and this is how it works. If we don't truly love ourselves, then we are not going to accept fully the love of other people, because we won't think that we're worthy of it. So I often do, you know, the little girl within, for example, if you imagine yourself as that little girl, and if you are rejecting her, telling her she's not good enough, you are like the gatekeeper for love for her. So if you're saying you're not good enough, you're actually rejecting love for her. You're rejecting success for her. You're rejecting health for her. You're rejecting every good thing for her, because you're telling her she's not good enough. And this all happens on a subconscious level. Most of the time, we're not even aware of it. So this is absolutely key. The foundation of success is accepting and loving yourself as you are, perfectly imperfect. So number two.
That's awesome. Okay, number three.
Number three is about capacity versus expectations. And I'm going to do a little diagram for you on this.
Okay.
So I hope you can see it. Let me hold it. So if this is it backwards to you?
No, not to me.
Okay,
no.
Good. The camera sometimes does it backwards. If this is a person's capacity in this circle here, and we start placing expectations for that person, if we place the expectations within their capacity, they are going to be able to achieve those expectations, and everything's going to be sweet. We're going to be fine. But when we start placing expectations outside of their capacity, we're actually going to be guaranteed to be disappointed, because they have this capacity and they cannot meet these expectations outside of it. And this was a massive revelation to me, because we judge people based on our expectations rather than their capacity.
Whoa, and that's so good.
We do. And so we need to understand. So the way I worked this out actually was with my parents and parenting me. I had placed expectations way outside their capacity, and I was constantly being let down and constantly being hurt until I worked this out, or I found out this little revelation here. I saw that my parents gave 100% of the capacity that they had. So how could I possibly ask for more than 100%? Look, it may not have been what I wanted or even needed at the time, but they still gave 100% of what they had. And you see, people's capacity is actually fluid. It means it can grow and shrink at any given time. So today I might be presenting and I'm healthy and I'm happy and I'm giving 100%, and my capacity might be out here. Next week, if I had to have another chat with you and I was, let's say, had the flu or whatever, my capacity might be this big, but I'm still giving 100% of that capacity at any given moment. And so when people say, oh, if I was her, I would have done this, don't ever say that around me, because I always say, no, you wouldn't. If you were that person, you would have just done exactly what they did, because you would have had their upbringing, you would have had their values, their belief system, all the wounds, bumps and bruises that they've ever had in their entire life. You would have had the morning that they had, and therefore you would have just done what they have done. So capacity and expectations was a real revelation to me to stop judging. Everyone's giving 100% at any given time. And hopefully over time, all of our capacities will grow. And so if, people aren't meeting our expectations right now, then maybe over time they can. Who knows? But I guess the thing is to understand that really both ourselves, so we don't beat ourselves up, and everyone else is literally giving 100% in that very moment. And so we just don't need to judge ourselves or other people.
There's so much peace that comes with that once you capture that, and I'll be going back and listening to that again, because I think that what happens is when we put so much expectation on our partners, our children, people around us, and if our emotional state or well-being is attached to expectations and we're let down, that leaves us in turmoil, that leaves us in sadness, it leaves us in resentment, and then all of a sudden we've got breakdown in relationships because unmet expectations can cause havoc. But I think if you can capture what you've just said, Simone, I think it's liberating. It will set you free if you understand what and if you're listening to this on audio or podcast, go back to the video on Facebook Live, and you will see exactly Simone actually did a diagram, and I think would be really helpful for you guys. So that's awesome, Simone. That was really good, really good. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Because I don't want to stop you from keep pouring out this wisdom.
Oh, there's lots, I think.
Is it another podcast? Is it another live?
Yeah, it is. But you know what? I think the main message, that if I could share one message with the world, is just, learn how to love who you are, because you're just so lovable. You really are. And if you're not thinking that, and if you have any other thought, then no, 100%, I'm telling you, you're believing a lie. So learn how to love who you are. Learn how to accept who you are, warts and all, perfectly imperfect. Give yourself permission to receive. Yeah,
that's so good. That's so good. So, Simone, if people want to find you, how can they find you?
So I actually have two websites, but the main one is just simoneleslie.com, and Leslie is with an IE. And you can get in touch with me via that website. I also have another website, which is SimoneLeslieOnline.com, and that one is more about the online program that I wrote to help address. It's a 7-day online program to address the root cause of anxiety, fear, and doubt, depression, all that. The imposter syndrome for all you amazing entrepreneurial women out there who struggle with that too.
Absolutely. That is a very big voice that yells at us, I can tell you. But no, that's amazing, Simone. I'm so grateful for what you've shared with us. I'm sure you've helped a lot of women today, or, you know, even men listen to this show. So I'm super grateful. And I just want to thank you for your time and for your wisdom. So there we are, guys. The amazing Simone Leslie. She will be back with if you want to go find her, go check out the website, go check her out online. If you feel like this has helped you, share it with someone else who you think it could help. But otherwise, we will see you next week. And next week, we're going to be talking about a woman who has completely transformed her body. And it's going to be a really interesting story. And she will share some wisdom on how she transformed her body. So thanks so much for having us. And we'll catch you next time with Wow Women. Bye.